I almost lost my life due to a flu. And I almost lost my life because I cared so much about making money. I cared so much about paying my bills. I cared so much about being able to support myself that I almost lost my life. Hey guys, welcome to Midori's World. I'm your girl, Midori. I'm here just to give your weekly dose of Midori's World, and today's episode is going to be my unpopular opinion about New York City treating poor people and young people like soldiers, even though I didn't sign up. So guys, I am pretty sure you've been watching the news. If you guys didn't know, I live in New York. I live in New York City. I've been living in New York City my whole life. It's been pretty great, you know. Rent's going up. There's more homeless people on the street, and now I'm being quarantined, so it's perfect. However, I can't help but to not feel like I'm being treated like I am a soldier in a war, and I'm so tired of people having the connotation of a virus that could have been suppressed, or at least not been as deadly in America as it was had our president heard the warning from China's, as well as just looked at what was happening in other countries and said, what might happen to us in a couple months, you know, maybe we should get our shit together. Yeah guys, I'm just tired of being seen as like a fucking slave. Like, I'm tired of, you know, New York City treating me like I'm a peasant because I'm you know, making minimum wage at a, you know, food service job. Like, I'm tired. Like, guys, 2020 hit me like a rock. Hit me like a rock in so many fucking ways, and I'm pretty sure it hit you like a rock too. I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and that was shitty. I was preparing my body for my hot girl summer. Like, I was getting myself ready. Like, I was ready to look so good this summer. My body fit, get my hairstyle done. If you didn't know, I'm combing out my locks. That'll be a video. If you want it, leave it down below. But I was gonna comb out my locks, get my body right and stitched, and just have like basically a hot girl summer or a city girl summer if I was broke. And now it's all to a pause because of quarantine, which is, you know, it's fine. It's fine. You know, I'm still alive. You know, I'm not dead. So I guess that's a thing. You know, I'm still thriving. Hashtag thriving. And now I feel like I'm not, because as soon as I woke up and I saw the news, I saw the governor say that he basically wanted to start moving us towards, the second phase. Basically what's going to happen. Maybe I shouldn't be so cynical. I hope that you guys don't get offended by this, because I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's hashtag New York die, because that's literally what's going to happen to a lot of young people who get hospitalized because you send them back to work, or that's going to happen to their parents once they come back from work with, you know, the virus, and then pass it on to them. But that's just me. While watching, the governor talk, he was basically saying that, you know, young people are less likely to get it. Not true. It's them staying at home was probably worst idea ever, because that staying at home, what scientists are saying them to do is not good and probably a bad idea, maybe for the pockets of the rich, but not for the poor. But I digress. He said that, and he was just saying that, you know, hopefully very soon they're going to start moving, you know, into a movement of where, you know, New York gets, you know, back to what it once was. And I get that he wants to do that. I get that he doesn't want the public to freak out, but sending them back onto the forces only to end up in the hospitals that don't have the quiet amount of, you know, shit to keep us alive is also pretty fucking bad. If you ask me, it's pretty bad and it's pretty stupid, because it's literally like he's saying, hey Midori, you're 24, so you're gonna be fine. It's just gonna be like a cold to you. And I'm like, okay. And then I go back to work and someone coughs on me and then I get the virus, and then, you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good in health, you know, and then, oh shit, I didn't know I have asthma. Did you know that? I have asthma? You know, young people get asthma. I also, my lungs aren't at 100%. I don't know why either, but that's just what my doctor tells me. So, actually, I'm 24. I have lung problems. My lungs are not at 100% capacity. I also have allergies. Allergy season makes my lungs even worse. And the last time I had the flu, I almost died. So I think we need to put a pause on the idea of sending young people back to work, not thinking that if they're just young that everything's going to be okay, not realizing that young people have the same amount of fucking problems just like old people, man. Come on, man. Young people got problems too. Like, shit. I'm not even in health. I'm not even in tip-top shape, man. I can't even walk up a flight of stairs. And you're telling me to go back to work? You're telling me that I'm gonna be fine? And I'm just tired of this notion, guys. I'm really tired of this notion. And it's like, before, you know, New York City was put on, you know, New York pause. There, and you know, I can't even count the times I was told, you know, if there's nothing that you have to worry about, Midori. You're young, you'll be fine, It will just be like the flu for you. It will just be like the flu. Whoa. What do you know, guys? Did you know that I almost died from the flu? Well, let me tell you that story. So, I was working at a place that, oh, well, fuck, I don't work there anymore. I was working at American Eagle. And the American Eagle that I worked at, and, you know, I'm going to say it's only my accounts because I think that's the way that I could save my face. But to my account, the American Eagle that I worked at was a place where people used underwear and returned it. And the place where people used jeans and then returned it, even if it had rips in it and smelled like weird, like musty old bread. It was a place where, for you to get to the top of the totem pole, you had to either kiss ass or suck ass or do all of those things above plus more, and, you know, sell your souls. I was a cash lead. So I was a cash lead at American Eagle, which meant that I was dealing with a whole lot of people. And that December, not that great, but that December, I was trying to sell BOGO jeans. BOGO jeans. It was just one afternoon. I was trying to sell BOGO jeans to an old lady who was trying to shop for her granddaughter. While I'm outside, there's a moment in my life where I just felt everything in the room spin. Like, I felt like I didn't know what was going on. And it was at that moment that I was like, okay, I can't breathe. I can barely see now, and I have a fever. And at the time, my bosses said the same thing. Fine, you're okay. You're in good health, Midori. You're in good health. You're a bestseller. Go out there and get us credit cards. Do what you gotta do. At this moment, I said, I gotta go. Because y'all guys might be caring about, you know, the next like couple hours, or like meeting these expectations that are set by corporations that basically set them so high that you'll never make it, so you won't make bonuses. But I gotta go and I gotta save my life, because I can't even hit quota tomorrow if I'm dead today. Yeah. Doctor. And she says to me, you look great. What seems to be the problem? And I tell her, I don't know, I'm not feeling that great. I'm not feeling like myself. I just feel weird. I just feel weird. And she looks at me and she says, okay, let us do a swab. We're going to give you the flu test swab, right? And kid you fucking not, a couple minutes passed and they saw my results, put gloves on. The doctor put a mask with the nurse, both put gloves and masks on, and said, Midori, we got your results back. Okay, what are they? And she said to me that I had type flu, I think it was type flu A. So guys, I have my phone. So I had type A. Type A is capable of causing a pandemic. So guys, just looked it up. I had type A, influenza. Anyway, so I had type A flu, meaning that I was highly contagious, that the nurses and the doctors were right to be afraid and put gloves and masks on. Yep. And I had to be on antibiotics for 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks I actually almost relapsed and had to stay at home for half a week. 2 weeks and a half. It was the worst pain in my life. I could barely breathe. Not only did I have to take antibiotics, but I also had to be on some other shit that I can't remember. I almost lost my life due to a flu. And I almost lost my life because I cared so much about making money. I cared so much about paying my bills. I cared so much about being able to support myself that I almost lost my life due to the fact that I didn't really have sick pay and I didn't really have ways to support myself. And even when you do have sick pay, you know, your job really judges you when you use it, because they feel like as long as you can walk or breathe that you should be outside working for them and not really caring about your well-being or health. So I went home. I was out of commission for about 2 weeks and a half. Guys, it's really fucking annoying that people think that just because I'm young, just because I look fine, that I'm okay to work and that the virus doesn't affect people like me. And it really pisses me off that I hear this from our governor, and it also makes me really disappointed that I hear this from statements from our president, or just like statements about saying that we're going to open back up in April. That is so fucked up. It's only gonna help the rich guys. For me, a person that, you know, is worried about my well-being and worried about like when they open up, oh, does that mean I have to go back to work, or like, you know, just a source of income. It's really fucking scary. It's really fucked up. I'm not a peasant. I'm not a peasant. I'm not a soldier. I did not sign up to be a soldier. I am a human being. I'm a simple human being. I'm 24 years old. I'm a fucking taxpayer as well. And I deserve to be treated like one. I deserve to have the representation. I deserve to have a voice. And I deserve my voice to be heard by our governor. And I deserve our governor to care about me. Like, I have asthma. My lungs aren't in the best condition. I literally had bronchitis when I was young, and I was also put out of 2 commissions. And I'm 24. I'm 24 years old, and I might look like I'm the healthiest person. I might be able to run 3 blocks, scratch that, walk it. But at the end of the day, if I go to the doctor, they might say I'm in good health. However, when it comes to this virus, I'm not in good health. I'm not in good health at all. What pisses me off the most, what triggers me, what boils my blood is homie, like come on, like it's crazy. It's really crazy. Like, there are more and more reports of this showing to affect young people. There are more and more reports of young people being seriously hospitalized. There was even a report about I think one of the head of like the White House saying that, you know, in Italy and France they're seeing like, you know, more and more like young people coming in being sick or severely hospitalized. What are we doing about that? What are we doing to stop young people from getting hospitalized? What are we doing to combat that? What you need to do is pay people. You need to give people money. The government is going to give us money, and then we just stay quarantined. We need to stay quarantined for about another month or two until this all passes by, because it doesn't make sense long term to send young people out to the workforce, to send kids back to the workforce, or to send kids back out to school only to come back and get sick and then get their parents sick who are over the age of 60, the ones you're worrying about, and then they actually pass away. And I don't think that his idea makes sense. It doesn't make sense. You say that it was a bad idea to have young people inside. Was it bad for the money? Was it bad for the banks? Was it bad for making money for New York City? I believe so it was, but long-term wise, for the health of their parents and for them, I don't think it was. I don't think it was at all. I think it's going to be worse when kids go back out there, when young kids go back out there to go to work and they come back home. And then after they come back home, even when they take off their clothes, even if they wash their hands, if they just get their parents sick, what are you going to do? Say it was a casualty? Say, oh, well, you know, it was just like, we don't know what happened. I took all the protocols, but they still got sick. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Because that's what's going to happen. Just because you take the protocols doesn't always mean 100% that they can't get their parents sick. However, staying at home, practicing social distancing will help get us back to a better place long-term wise, without people overflowing the hospital and then sending them back in April and having that happen. Because if we haven't reached peak, let's think about it like this, guys. We haven't reached peak yet. But the hospitals in New York City are overflowing. They're overflowing to the point where they have to reuse masks. And even the governor was upset, saying that they weren't giving much supplies or ventilators to supply the peak. And now you want to send young people back to the forest because they're okay. We're invincible. We're invincible to you guys until we get sick, until we get hospitalized. Because the CDC, the Center for Disease Prevention and something else, said that there's actually more and more young people coming out to be sick or to have corona or to have to be hospitalized. And the reason why they couldn't tell this when it was being announced, like, oh, you know, young people will be fine, was because there was such a big backlog and there still needed to be data collected, which is why it was so ridiculous for them to say something like that to the public before they got that. Young people need to stay home. We all need to stay home. All of our lives should matter, whether we're young, old, or a baby. All of our lives should matter just as much as one. And I think that it's really inconsiderate that we might be forced to go back in April very, very soon. Like, literally, we just closed down for a week, and because people are crying tears that they're not making, you know, that the crying tears that the state's losing money, that they want young people to go back to work, right? Young people go back to work. Kids go back to work. And the kids who have asthma and don't know it or do, go. And the people that have lung issues that don't know, because, you know, in New York City you barely have time because everyone's working. But all those people out there, all the people that have unknown illnesses, or even the people that are in perfect health, because even in the news reports it says even people in perfect health who are young are getting seriously hospitalized. So basically just anyone. You're sending out all these young people and all these little kids out there to go back to, I guess, what seems to be superficial or a shell of what New York City once was at the moment because of the times. We'll get there soon, but just not right now. And you're sending us back out there. And what's gonna happen when a quarter of those people get sick? What's gonna happen when a quarter or more of those people have to go to the hospital? What is going to happen? Well, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. So there'll be a decision that has to be made by a doctor. It's already very much known that we're running out of ventilators, and it's very much known that they're making makeshift morgues to prepare and also using for dead bodies in New York City. So the doctor has to choose between you or your parent. The doctor has to choose between you or an old person. The doctor's going to have to choose. And just like what was done in Italy where they chose young people, what do you think they're going to do in New York? They're going to choose you over your parent. They're going to choose you, or they're going to choose you just in general because you're young. The young have a higher expectation of living, or that's what the CDC says. And I think it's really unfair. I think it's a really dangerous game to be playing with people's lives, especially old people's lives. And if you care about old people, you would let young people stay home. Because in this economy, a lot of young people have to stay at home and live with their parents who are 60 and above. Most young people, most millenniums, Jesus Christ, in the news, it talks about it all the time, about how, young people can't afford to leave their homes yet because of the economy and not being able to afford, means. Yet you're sending us out there because we're young, and you're uneducated about the youth getting more sick over this disease. And then when the youth does get sick and they go to the hospital, and their parent does get sick and they go to the hospital, one comes out living and the other one might not because of their age and their likelihood of survival. And I think that's fucked up. I think that's really fucked up. I think it's something that we have to think about. I think it's something that we really have to really take very seriously. Sorry guys, my camera turned off. However, like I was saying, if you are going to run checks to airplane people and run checks to just airlines and stuff like that, because you're saying that in the grand scheme these are the places that are stimulating the economy and doing all these big things but for who? It's mostly doing it for the rich and not really the poor or even the middle class, which is shrinking. And I think we really need to think about that. And the biggest thing I want to say is that why is it that the wealthy youth, the wealthy rich, and definitely states and senators and people like that, most of them are have the precautions, have the means, have the privilege to stay safe. However, they're sending the people below that, the people middle class, low class, lower class youth, lower class people who don't have the means or the privilege back on the workforce to work, get sick, give it to their parents, because most of the lower class live with their parents, and then God forbid see their parents pass away, or God forbid end up being seriously hospitalized at the hospital for a while. And the thing about that too is that if you're in the hospital, baby girl, you're not getting out. You're not getting out in 14 days. 14 days is the minimum. The maximum is unknown. You might be in there for a month. You might be in there for a year. Joking. But you're going to be in there for a while. And you're just acting like, oh yeah, 14 days and I'm out. It's just like the flu. It's not like the flu. It's a super flu. It's a virus. It's not even a flu. It's a virus. It's pneumonia. People die of pneumonia all the time. If you've ever seen someone in the hospital just barely making it off pneumonia, Your ass think that you're gonna survive super pneumonia? What the fuck? Like, no! No, baby girl, no. Baby boy, no. It's super pneumonia, so it's not the flu. The flu is propaganda. It's pneumonia. Let's call it what it is. It's pneumonia, and it's super pneumonia. And you, my friend, before you even think that you'll be fine and you'll be good, you need to really think about your health and the health of your family if you're living with your at home, and just so much more. And all I'm saying is that the government needs to run New York City their coins, run me my check, and we'll be on our way. We'll be good. Just run me my check. Just